Welcome back, watchers and listeners, to the What We Watch podcast. My name's Natalie, and
I'm Garett.
that's Garrett. And this week, we watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Yeah!
Can you guess who picked it, even though it's in the title?
Can you guess who picked that one?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're gonna go straight into some fun questions to begin.
Before we start, for the people who watch this podcast on YouTube, you might notice that Natalie is in my regular recording spot and I am somewhere else. Yeah. So I'm just at my apartment and Natalie is mysteriously at my house.
Yeah, I will be here quite often in the summer because at Garrett's parents' house there is a pool and I like to be in the sun.
Nice.
So
yeah,
that's
nice
why
of an
I'm
empty
here.
room.
He had no idea, so it was really funny when he hopped on the recording and he said, "What the?" Because I'm in his spot.
Yes.
But anyways, let's jump right into it. Should I do the synopsis first, or should
We usually
go straight
do
into fun
questions
questions
first, yeah.
Okay, love it. Watching this movie, Garrett, what point would be your breaking point in this movie with Andy scheming? And were there any that you're like, that wasn't that big of a deal?
Honestly, like, I have to commend what's Matthew McConaughey's character's name again? I can't remember.
Benjamin Barry.
Benjamin Barry and Andy Anderson. Those are
Yes.
comic book names. But yeah, I have to commend him for the basketball one, the Knicks game one, when she's like,
That
"Oh,
one's
but
tough.
that
It's
one,
the first one, too.
yeah, that one is like, ugh, that one sucks." But I think my breaking point would probably be the vegetarian thing.
That one was
When
crazy.
he cooks like this crazy meal and then she's like, "Oh, I'm vegetarian." And then it's followed up directly with like, "He thinks I'm fat." Like that would probably be my breaking point.
Thinks I'm fat is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Honestly, all of them are pretty bad. What did you think of her calling his mom and doing the Photoshop?
The Photoshop was weird. Obviously, the Photoshop was very weird. But I kind of thought it was wholesome that that she was talking to his mom. And then I remembered, oh wait, they've technically only been dating for like 5 days.
For a couple days.
Yeah.
Or her getting the key to his apartment and crashing their game night. Like, what if a girl came and crashed your Dungeons and Dragons?
That would be. It's funny because we actually are like, we need to get a girl in this group. So I wouldn't mind. But
you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, as long as she plays. But if she was doing pulling an Andy, I would be like, "All right, woman, get out."
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff in there. Honestly, I think my breaking point would be the Knicks game. Like the first thing she does, I'm like, ain't no way I'm leaving this game to go get you a drink.
I love that scene too because, like, the way Matthew McConaughey plays it is like he's almost like in tears. Like when he like barely misses it, like misses the shot. Like everybody starts walking out and you see like his eyes look like wet. Like he looks so sad.
He's so disappointed. I know. And she's like, "I can't believe you missed it." And he's like, "Yeah, me neither." Okay, if this movie was remade in 2025, what schemes do you think would take place that are more modern? Like, what do you think would,
That's a good question.
Maybe what you would do if you were writing Andy Anderson, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
If I were...
I mean, excluding like ghosting, because obviously that's like, that doesn't count. Like you have to do something. You have to do something crazy.
I think something that I hate is when girls are just on their phone all the time, like the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, if you're on a date and you have to send a few texts or whatever, that's totally fine. But if you're just like consistently answering every single text or on your phone, it's like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, are you here to actually like hang out and talk and go on a date, or are you just here to go on your phone?
Yeah.
So that would suck. Also, if I see another dating apps profile that says, I just like to go on adventures, I'm
Oh my
going to lose
gosh,
my
tell me
mind.
about it. It goes both ways too. It's
Mhm.
literally everybody. I don't
What
know if
does
it's a
that mean?
Utah thing.
What
I
does
just
that
love
even
to go
mean?
on adventures and be
Hmm.
outside and touch some grass and golf, and it's literally all the same thing.
You,
Everybody, can we turn if we're gonna have to do dating apps, like can we turn it around and like maybe be interesting people? And also don't
Bars.
lie. Don't
Yeah.
lie. Like why are we lying about being outside all the time? I know half of you like to be inside watching movies and chilling. Because I
Yeah.
work at a bridal shop for people who don't know, and most of the time when I ask people what they like to do with their fiancés, it's like, "Oh, we just like to like sit around and watch TV and be together and go out to eat
Yeah.
like normal people." So stop acting like you're freaking Indiana Jones out here. Like be normal.
Yeah. I just
It's
like
more
going on
interesting.
adventures. Yeah.
It's more
That's
interesting
so
to be
funny.
normal.
Yeah. Like on
Because
dating apps, if a girl is like, if she says something that's not adventures, like something that's real, like you were saying, then I'm way more likely to like swipe on them because it's like, oh, it's an actual interesting person.
yeah, it's like somebody's not lying to me for once. Or if you
Yeah.
really are into that stuff, you are not my person. So I
Yeah.
automatically swipe down. I'm like, I'm sorry if you're fishing and hiking and doing all I am not outdoorsy and
Hmm.
camping. If you are like that, mm-mm. But
Hmm.
if you're outsidey, I don't mind. Like if you like sports like football and like going to events and concerts and stuff like that, and you like to hang out at the pool, then great, and go to the beach, like awesome.
Yeah.
But I know most of you are, so stop lying.
Hmm. I'm trying to become more outdoorsy. I want to get into hiking and camping a little bit this summer because I really do enjoy it when I do go. Like
Too
hiking
much
for the
work.
first like hour, I'm like, this sucks. And then after the first hour, like once my body's used to it, then I'm
After the first
fine.
hour, what hikes are you See,
That
this is
like
why I hate hiking.
like hiking, like
I'm
when I
like
go on
a 20
hikes,
minute walk, that's great.
yeah, when I go on hikes, I want to go on like a hike. Like I want to be in the
You're gonna
wilderness.
hike Temp this summer.
I mean, that's the goal is by the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, I want to hike Timp,
Good
but
luck with that.
that's, I still have to do a lot of build up to that. But,
One time my best friend Lainey went and hiked Temp with all of like a bunch of people in our graduating class all went. And
yeah,
she was like, "You should come, Natalie, you should come." And I was like, somebody would have to carry me up that mountain. Like there's literally no way that I physically can make it,
yeah,
let alone I would already be in a bad mood because I wouldn't want to be there. So I was
yeah,
like, I'm not doing it. And then she went, and then she ended up like literally having to be like pulled up the mountain. Like our friend Dylan
actually,
was like, Lainey, come on, like kill, like was staying with her because she was so
she was
tired.
so
And
slow.
I was like, girl, it's a good thing I didn't come because Dylan couldn't have gotten us both up
Mhm.
there.
It's
But
funny because Lainey gives me my haircuts, and every once in a while, I'm like, when she's giving me my haircut, I'm like, hey, like we mentioned you on the podcast. I don't know if I'm gonna tell her we mentioned her on the podcast this episode.
no, she can. She knows. She knows. I don't think that she regrets it because I don't think anybody who hikes Temp regrets it. Like I think
Yeah,
she's glad that she did it, but she knows that it was not what she was not ready for it.
yeah.
She was like, "It will be so much fun." I'm like, "I'm not going." A lot of our friends were like basketball players, so they were like really in
Mhm.
shape and like pretty active and outdoors. And like me and Lainey, I mean, Lainey played basketball and we both did cheer and stuff, but like I was not in shape my senior year
Mhm.
enough for me to go hike Temp.
Yeah.
I was probably in better shape then. Like if I was gonna do it, I should have done it then. But I was like, there's no way.
Yeah. So would you say back to like the dating apps thing, like yours, like turn off is like you see a dude with a picture of a fish or something,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. For
Fish.
me, it's
I
horse
can tell you my
girl.
green flags too. I actually do like when boys like golfing because my
Yeah.
dad and brothers do that. So I'm like, okay, golfing is a green flag. I feel like just things like that. When they like
Hmm.
movies, obviously we have a whole podcast about movies. But when it's like I like to fish and hunt, I'm like, bruh.
Yeah.
But I guess we have family who likes to hunt too.
Yeah.
It's
And
just when they
like,
make it their whole personality.
hmm
And hiking
and
and camping. Like I'm like If you want somebody to do that with you, it's not gonna be me.
Yeah.
Like, so, anyways.
Makes sense.
I don't know what I would do personally for my scheming. I think I mostly would just be obnoxious. Like, I would, like her, Andy, like, she's really cool and chill, Andy Anderson is. But then when she's doing her scheming, like, her baby voice, when she's like, Betty, boo, 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 like, all that, like, that makes me want to die. And, like, I think it would be, me and Annie are really good at finding a lot of information. Honestly, our whole family is finding a lot of information on social media about people. So I think it would be really funny to kind of be a stalker in that way and find a lot of information about them and then just like randomly spit off facts about them without them knowing. I feel like that would be I feel like that would be a scary red flag for a lot of people, but I'm also like, welcome, like you're putting it online.
You won the 6th grade spelling bee. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I saw that 10 years ago.
Your mom posted 10 years ago that you were in the school play. How did that go? In the
school play. So, like, what part did you get? And tell me how that shaped your life. Yeah, just things like that I think would be funny.
Yeah.
Or, be annoying about, like, I mean, I kind of already am, but, like, TikTok trends and just be like, we have to make a video. We have to make a video. Get on my TikTok.
Oh, yes. That would be the worst.
You wanna vlog? Become a no hate
family.
to influencers because it's not easy. I understand. Yeah. I mean, even me, I slack on our social media, but because it's not easy. But that would be me. I'd be like, let's do this. Want to vlog? Let's post our whole life. Yeah. Anyways, I also do think that reaching out to his like a mom or family member that early on is also a red flag. Like
100%.
Like, oh, I just talked to your mom today. We FaceTimed.
It's like, what? How did you figure out my mom's information?
Yeah. So, anyways, any others?
Not that I can think of. Honestly, I'm at a point in my life when, I mean, there are red flags like the ones you were saying, but I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, I'll try anything out at this point. So
I know. I should be less mean about people because maybe the person that I end up with loves to hike and hunt and fish.
Yeah.
But
and I'll say like I'll try anything out, but like I said earlier, if I see like a picture of you and a horse on your dating profile, I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Horses
about
aren't
that.
red flags to me. I love horses.
For me, it's the horse girl that comes with the horse. Like, like a girl, like there are girls who have horses that's like totally fine. But if like the horse is more important than me, then it's like, okay.
There are horse girls out there that are intense. Okay. No, I feel that. We all have our preferences and that's fine. So, okay. Getting into the movie, I'll read a quick synopsis for those who haven't seen it. But if you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? It's been around for a while. So, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is about a magazine writer, Andy Anderson, who pretends to drive a man away in 10 days to write an article. While ad exec Ben Barry bets that he can make a woman fall in love with him in the same time frame. And then their schemes collide, so then it ends up getting messy, and they start, actually developing feelings. So that's kind of what the movie is about.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think, Garrett? Should we start with the plot? Since that's what we just talked about?
Mm-hmm.
What's your score?
For plot, I think... Let me pull up my notes, actually. So for the plot, I would give it a... probably, honestly, a large bucket for, like, the objective plot. I think the idea is really fun. Like, just the premise is fun. Like, oh, they both are scheming and neither of them know about it. Mm-hmm. I think the way in which the schemes happen, like the way in which that like they're even starting is a little goofy. Specifically Ben's, like you're telling me Ben's advertising boss was willing to bet a huge deal on him making a girl fall in love with him. Like that's a little goofy, but I mean, this is a goofy movie. Mm-hmm. Like Andy's makes sense, but Ben's I was like, okay, guy, like you are the owner of an advertising company. Like I think you would be a smarter businessman. But so I'd give it probably large bucket, I think, medium to large bucket, probably in between. And then Probably a little bit of butter. Honestly, the first like 45 minutes of this movie, I kind of like finally understood like, oh, this is what Natalie felt like when she would watch like Godzilla or John Wick. I'm like, this is what she feels like. Like I really, really was not having a good time. I was so like just tired of Andy's shenanigans at like from like the because I thought it was gonna be like, oh, she does one or two and they start falling in love and like the whole movie is
No,
them
sir.
kind of falling in love. That is not really what happens. It's pretty much the majority of the movie is them kind of doing their shenanigans with each other, and then towards the end they actually end up falling in love. So I was like physically like cringing at so many parts, like oh, like if it wasn't for Matthew McConaughey's acting ability, I think this is like one step above a Hallmark movie to a certain
You have
extent.
not seen enough Hallmark movies.
Like it specifically, we'll get to this, but specifically the music, I think is very Hallmarky music, like the score of the movie, which didn't help when it's like does like the classic like Hallmark like scheming strings like violin like I think you kind of know what I'm talking about. The like in a Hallmark movie when they're doing like a little romantic, which all of them are romantic movies, I guess. But when there's a scene where like there's an awkward moment between the lead couples, the music does like kind of a weird like or not weird, it does like a there's a specific word I'm looking for, but there's a specific trope in music that Hallmark movies do that this movie did, and it didn't help the
The
vibes
way
of
I
like
didn't even notice.
oh like so if it wasn't for Matthew McConaughey, I thought for the first like 40, 50 minutes, like, oh, this is just Hallmark movie vibes. But then it changed when they actually went to see his family. Then their chemistry actually like started building and they actually started falling in love. And from then on, I really enjoyed the movie. And I kind
Mm-hmm.
of like ended like much like the characters themselves in a very meta sense. At the beginning, I was just doing this because I had to. But by
Mm-hmm.
the end, I was doing it because I wanted to. I wanted to like this movie and I wanted to keep watching. So if I were to rewatch it, I would probably have a better time because I knew where it
Where it
was going.
goes. Yeah.
But yeah, I was so tired of Andy's
Well, and
stupid schemes.
honestly, I don't think that that's uncommon. Like, it is a tough movie to get through because it's so cringy. Because
Hmm.
obviously, she's like trying to make him break up with her. Like, that's the whole
Yeah.
point, and he just won't because he also has this stuff going on. And so it's like so tough because you're just like, how is he doing this? How is she
Hmm.
doing it? Like, the secondhand embarrassment, like when she's on the roof with her friends and they're like tanning, and she's like, I don't know what else I have to do to get this guy to like stop.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna have to do what does she say? She's like, I'm gonna have to do something really. She says something. It's
Hmm.
just so funny. But I definitely understand those thoughts. Um,
Hmm.
I would
Well,
agree. Mine. Oh wait, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's your score for it?
Yeah, large bucket because I think you see a lot of like rom-coms and romantic movies that just kind of follow the same thing.
Hmm.
And I think that this one has a fun like original twist on it where it's like there's actually something interesting happening instead of it just being like, oh, they fell in love and then something happened.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's fun to have that added element to it. So that's why I gave it large bucket. And then I gave it extra butter because I love this movie and I love this plot.
Hmm.
Clearly, that's why I picked it. I think the plot is fun. And the reason why I picked this movie for anybody anybody interested is because the Knicks have been in the NBA playoffs. And so every time I see the Knicks playing basketball in the NBA playoffs, I'm like, I need to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah. Also, shout out Timothy Chalamet.
Knicks fan extraordinaire.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Um, so I have a question for you. Who do you think did the other the dirtiest?
Interesting question. Because I think maybe, I mean, they both used each other, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, in the end, it's both pretty bad. I
Hmm.
think Andy puts Ben through more, but I think it's a little bit more. I feel like it hurts a little bit more for Andy because then
Hmm.
she's like, oh, wait, like, I do think that it's kind of cocky for him to be like, oh yeah, I can make any girl fall in love with me in 10 days. Whereas I think anybody could make somebody break up with them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think anybody can drive somebody crazy, but I think it's really cocky on his side to be like, no, I can make any girl fall in love with me. And then when
hmm
she actually does, it stings even more because then she figures out like what his plan was.
Yeah.
And especially because he does it, like they kind of fall in love with each other. Like it's, I feel like that emotionally is worse than like,
hmm
I can make any guy go away. Like I can lose any guy in 10 days because I
Yeah.
can be crazy and psycho and whatever and do all the wrong things in a relationship, but I don't know. I think Ben's might be a little bit worse. What do you think?
hmm I think kind of similar because on the surface, I would say Andy's is worse because like
Yeah.
she's writing a whole article about it and she's from what I remember, I watched this a couple days ago, but from what I remember, Andy is more like the plot is more revolved honestly around like her side of it than it is Ben's side
Mhm.
of it. Like you see her scheming more than you see Ben because Ben isn't really scheming. He's just kind of like, I have to stick with this girl and make this girl love me.
Mhm.
There's only like one or two scenes where his friends are like, no, man, you got to keep at it.
Yeah.
Whereas there's tons of scenes with Andy where she's talking with her friends like, I can't believe this guy's such an idiot.
Yeah.
Um, so on the surface, I would say Andy's is a little bit worse, especially because it's more public and stuff like that. Like she's writing a whole article about it. But kind of like you said, when you think about it, Andy's would honestly hurt, like, or Ben's would hurt a little bit more because the reason Andy falls in love with him is obviously their chemistry, but then she's thinking, despite all of this terrible stuff I've done, he's still stuck around and he still genuinely cares about me. Like that in her head, she thinks that when in reality, all he's doing it for is just to get the deal or just to get
Mhm.
like the opportunity to head the diamond deal or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I keep going back and forth on it because they do both end up falling in love with each other anyway. So it's not like either of them really do that much harm in the end because they get
Yeah.
together.
Mhm.
But I think if I were to go through it, if a girl were to do Andy me or a girl were to Benjamin me, I would probably be more hurt by getting bend
Totally.
because it's more emotional,
Mhm.
like you were saying.
I think it's more emotional to be played in the way that Ben does because it's more just like chaos. Like
hmm
Andy is more chaos, Ben is more like real feelings, especially if
Yeah.
you don't know what's going on. Like if somebody were to Andy Anderson you would be like, dude, this girl is psycho. I'm
Yeah, but
done
like
with
that's
her.
stupid.
But if
Yeah.
somebody were to Ben bury you and you like get to the end and then you find out that it was just for him to get a promotion, you would be like, dude, I thought we had a real thing going. Regardless of
Yeah.
how he ended up feeling, it'd be like, so you just used me?
hmm
Where I guess with like the article and stuff for Andy's, but I feel like that would almost be funny. Like it would be like, I got played, but like also, like that was kind of funny. Like, look at what she did. You know, like it would still suck because it's
It
still your
would,
life, but
yeah, it would just have to depend on like how invested in the relationship I got for either of them.
yeah.
Because if I was like invested, because Andy is cool at the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
then she starts to like go crazy. Like she has to grab him first before she can start going crazy. So if I was that invested and then she started doing that, like Ben even points out, like, where's the
The
cool, like
cool,
sexy
fun,
Andy that I
sexy, yeah.
knew like the first time we met? So if that happened, I'd be pretty pissed. But again, it'd kind of be more annoying. But here's the thing with Ben's is Ben never specifies that at the end he'll break up with the girl, if I remember correctly. He's just like,
Yeah,
oh, I
that's
bet I
true.
could get a girl in 10 days. He doesn't say like, I'm never like goes out the window after that. Because
Yeah.
from pretty early on, he seems like genuinely interested in Andy.
Yeah, that's true. Because even when they like pick her out, he's like, okay, yeah. And they have like
Yeah.
chemistry off the bat. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, I
It's
guess
a
it depends on
complicated
how it
question.
ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think. I'll post a poll on Instagram once this episode goes live and we'll see what we
hmm
think. Okay. Well, awesome. We went through plot. Did you have a favorite and least favorite scene?
Yes. So my least favorite scene, I think I kind of already said, is the Andy saying like, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian," and then having him go to the What is it? A Vietnamese restaurant? Is it a Chinese restaurant?
It's
I
just
don't know.
like, yeah, they're like serving like tofu or whatever. Like, I think it's just like literally like a vegetarian
Yeah,
like joint. Like,
Asian food
yeah.
restaurant. Um, and like that one already sucked, but what like twisted the knife is when she's in the back of the kitchen watching the
Watching the
game,
game.
and he's just sitting there like as everybody looks at him because they think he calls her fat and stuff. That hurt. But my
And then
favorite
he's running
scene,
back to his apartment to go watch
yeah,
the
like
highlights.
sprinting back. My favorite scene is probably the BS scene when they go to his family's house and they're playing BS because both of them, like Andy really starts to see like, oh, I really do like this guy, and Ben kind of sees Andy gets to see the real Andy again. And it's just like Matthew McConaughey can make anybody have good chemistry with him. So just the whole family bouncing off of him, I think is really, really fun and just adds a lot of, for me, since it was kind of a grog to get to that point. Once that scene happened, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so wholesome. This is so fun. And I play BS with my family all the time. So this is fun. Yeah, I think those are mine.
Did you have any like funny scenes that you thought were like that were your favorites?
There's a part at the end, towards the end, like after the family scene, that I thought was genuinely funny, but I can't remember what it was. Everything else, I was like, oh, that's funny, but I didn't like actually laugh. I only vocally laughed like once, but I can't remember what it was. But it was something past the BS scene to the end.
Was it at the gala, like the Frost Yourself party at all?
It might have been. I can't exactly remember what it was. I remember I was going to make a note of it and I forgot. But there was one scene that was actually really funny. I think it was at the Frost Yourself gala at some point. I think, it was the song. It was when they were singing like their
You're
song.
So vain.
Yeah, because they're just terrible at it. And then that one like diamond girl is like, oh my gosh, like that was awesome. That was funny.
Dolores, is it Dolores? Mrs. Dolores?
I think
something
so.
like that. Well, nice. My favorite scene is actually similar. I just like the whole them on Long Island with his family. I think that's like where you get to see their relationship actually grow, because Andy isn't gonna like include his family in the scheming. So it's where you like get to genuinely see them like kind of falling for each other. And I love the BS card game thing. I think it's funny that they all gang up on Ben since he's the best at it. And then I also love a classic scene in this movie that everybody knows and loves is when right before they go to the Frost Yourself party thing, when Andy comes out in the yellow dress. That's like super iconic, and Matthew McConaughey
does the chest grab.
does the chest grab. It's a big one. And then my favorite funny scene is couples therapy. I think it's hilarious.
That is a good part.
I think it's so funny when Catherine Hahn's character is like, and Ben, when did you realize that you were attracted to men? Like,
okay, wait, that was it. That was the part that I thought was, yes, that was the funny part.
And then he's like, wait, like 5 seconds ago I was flirting with you and now I'm gay? Like, it's so funny. I love that part. I think that scene is so funny. And then because Andy goes, oh, that's serious. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, those are my favorite scenes. And then I didn't have a least favorite scene. I honestly think this whole movie is pretty funny. I would say that maybe my least favorite scene, the one, we didn't talk about this in the beginning when we were talking about like what would be your breaking point, but I do think it would be my breaking point. We've talked about this before as a pet peeve when she's talking at the movie. Awful. Like, it just kills me when she's just like won't shut up. And just asking like the worst questions at the worst time, and and Ben is like, "I'm trying to watch the movie." Like,
yeah,
that just like it, boils my blood a little bit. I can't do it.
Who is she?
Yeah,
who is she? The girl you're thinking of.
Like even if those questions weren't happening as they were watching a movie, like it would be annoying. But especially because it's during the movie, terrible.
Yeah.
So maybe that's my least favorite scene. But I do think it's funny that the guy behind him, like the big burly guy, is like, be quiet. And then they have to go fight. It's so funny. Anyways, okay, awesome. Let's get into character. What did you rank that?
Yeah, so I gave character a medium bucket with probably just a little bit of butter. Don't think it's the strongest characters. Of course, it's a rom-com. They're not supposed to be the most strong characters, but they were good. I really liked Matthew McConaughey. I liked Benjamin. I liked Andy. I thought Catherine Hahn was really fun in this movie. I thought the freaking like evil like lady advertisers were really like they were hilarious.
Green and Spears.
Like, yeah, funny in a kind of laughing at the movie way, not necessarily laughing with the movie way, where it's like, why are they this way? Why are they like giving like the stink eye, like scheming evil? Like they were just kind of goofy. Also, Andy's boss sucks. I hate her.
She's the worst.
Yeah, but like I like Benjamin's friends. I don't know why I'm calling him by his full government name, but I like Ben's friends. I like Andy's friends. And yeah, they're just overall pretty fine. I think as far as acting goes, Matthew McConaughey's easily the best actor in this movie. I don't think it's really that much of a debate. He's Matthew McConaughey. He's a big actor. What's the main girl's name again? The actress? I can't remember.
Isn't it Kate Hudson?
Kate Hudson. Yeah, Kate Hudson's great, obviously.
Is that her name? I want to make sure.
I believe so.
Yeah, it is Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson's great, obviously, but I mean, McConaughey is Matthew McConaughey, so I think he's obviously the best actor in this movie. And I think it works. I think they could have made this movie if you made this movie with any other male lead that wasn't McConaughey, I don't think it would have been as big as it is. I don't think it would have been as iconic as it is. I think you can replace Kate Hudson and the movie could still be somewhat iconic, but I don't think you can replace McConaughey. I think he's kind of the central pole of this movie, that if you took him out, I don't think it would be as successful as it is because his chemistry and his charm really carries a lot of it.
Nice. I would agree with medium bucket. And then I give this butter because I love all the characters in this. I think that all the acting was great. I love Andy Anderson. I think her character's fun. I think it's fun that she like does this scheming and how much she leans into it, just being like a, normal girl that's just trying to, write about things that she cares about. And then she's like, hey, if I have to go all in, like I'm going to go all in. And I think Kate Hudson does a really good job as Andy. And then I love Ben. This movie definitely made me fall in love with Matthew McConaughey. He's in another rom-com with Jennifer Lopez. It's called The Wedding Planner. And I really love him in that too. So those two, I think he does really well in rom-coms. And I think that big actors should give rom-coms a chance. Bring back rom-coms in 2025. That's what Natalie wants.
Yeah.
Slowly getting there.
Yeah, we got Anyone But You, but that one kind of like, I don't think it was a flop at the box office, if I'm not mistaken. But it wasn't as big as I think the studio wanted it to be. So hopefully we're getting rom-coms back.
Yeah, and I think that like Anyone But You, that's a good point, like because it has Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney in it. I think that movie could have been good, but the plot was lacking because both of them are like really good in it. But I think it was just something that, and I think that's the hard part with a lot of rom-coms is that a lot of them, like I said at the beginning, follow the same like, I don't know, recipe. And so to like find something that's interesting that you can bring into it is kind of difficult. So I think that it was just a little too basic, but also the girls love basic. Or else there wouldn't be a million books that girls read that are like rom-com-esque. So
yeah,
we know what we're getting, but yeah, I think that they could have done better. But anyways,
I think.
Go for it.
Sorry, just to continue on the rom-com thing a little bit. As someone who doesn't love rom-coms that much, I still want them.
Yeah.
Because there's still funny moments that come from them, and because what's kind of replaced rom-coms is a lot of like streaming TV shows have replaced rom-coms, like To All the Boys I Ever Loved and Summer I Turned Pretty and all that type of stuff. That kind of replaced the rom-com, and I don't know, as someone who has to watch, rom-coms and sometimes has to watch an episode or two of those shows, Notice I say have to because it's the only thing that my sisters are watching or something like that. I much rather would watch a rom-com with like, actors that I know that are, proven good actors, that there's still fun moments, even if the movie's not that great. At least I can like enjoy the chemistry of the leads or something like that. Whereas if I have to watch like an episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty, I'm gonna like jump off a cliff. Like I'd rather watch a 2-hour.
I will stay and watch Summer I Turned Pretty a million times.
Like I'd rather watch a 2-hour, hour and a half rom-com than have to sit down and watch a 8-hour altogether TV show where they just end up together at the end. Like it's just a stretched out rom-com essentially. And rom-coms would help the box office a lot too. So I think rom-coms just overall need to have a comeback, but that's kind of a wider conversation of the mid-budget movie as a whole, which is not something we're going to get into on this episode of 10 Things not 10
How
Things How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That's a conversation for another time.
Period, except for I don't want to get rid of the shows either. Give me all of the rom-com. I want it all. All the drama, romance, give it to me. But yeah, I think I agree with you on the rest of the characters too. Like I think Tony and Thayer are funny. I think Andy's friends are funny. Michelle, I love her little love story on the side with what's his name, whatever his name was, and then he like shows up at the end. So funny.
He's like a goofy looking dude too.
Goofy looking guy. Yeah. Anyways, so funny. And it's so sweet. He's like, that smell of your perfume, it wore off and I miss it. It's so tender.
I really didn't realize how long Catherine Hahn has been around for. Like I thought Parks and Rec was her big thing that kind of launched her, but she just appears in early 2000s and 90s things and you're like, what the?
She's been around for a
long time. Yeah.
And she is in a lot of stuff kind of like as that kind of side character. Look at her now.
I love Catherine Hahn. She's awesome. She's really funny.
Yeah, she is great. Okay. Aesthetic wise, what do you think, Garett?
I think I don't know why I'm doing this off the top of my head. Yeah, I have my notes. I gave it small bucket, just no butter. Like, not that it's necessarily to the movie's downfall. Like, this is not a movie that's supposed to be, have the greatest cinematography or anything, but aesthetically it's just like, this is fine. The most aesthetically pleasing part of it is the party. I like Frost Yourself. I like the vibe of Frost Yourself. But yeah, there's no shot in here that moves me to feel any sort of emotion. There's no lighting choices. There's no, like, from a filmmaking standpoint, there's nothing in this movie that I'm like impressed or moved by. But like, it's fine. Like, the movie wasn't supposed to set out to do that, but I'd still just be like, whatever.
Love it. We have talked about this before, like in Clueless, whereas Garett looks very detail oriented with lighting and cinematography and all of that, whereas aesthetic for me doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. So I gave it like a medium bucket, like with butter, because for me aesthetic almost is like a vibe too, and I think the vibe of this movie is really fun, and I think that you don't need big cinematography-esque moments in a movie like this, because that's not what the movie's going for, which is also what you said, but you're harsher on the score, because I look at the movie, I'm like, great, you did a good job for this movie. Yeah. Garett looks at movies as a whole, which is fine.
If I were to,
I would say against other rom-coms, I have seen much worse. Like, this movie doesn't scream, because when you say Hallmark, to me that screams like I could film this on an iPhone and it would still look the same. Whereas with this, at least there's like some thought and effort in it, which is where I give it like a medium bucket with butter, because I like it. I like the way it looks. The way it looks doesn't take away from the story for me. It's not like I'm forcing myself to watch like an ABC movie made for TV where I'm like, I'm still getting pretty much the same story, but it just looks awful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Or 100%. It's like not like Disney budget, like where it looks like a DCOM.
Yeah.
Which I still enjoy.
Yes, of course. Of course. The decoms are great. I think looking back, I'm going to pull up my score for Clueless because I believe I was harsh on that too. But if I were to go back in time and like if we had to watch this movie first and then Clueless, I think I would give Clueless a better score on aesthetic
That's
because
fair.
Clueless um has a lot more like stylistic choices. Like the
Yes.
costuming is very colorful and flashy. There's, a lot of fun moments where like when she realizes she's in love with Paul Rudd and the fountain turns on in the back. Like there's a lot
Hmm.
more stylistic choices that I like that make it more like flashy and have its own personality and like flair to it. Whereas this, like, there isn't really anything that I can think of besides like them at a Knicks game, which I liked that vibe a lot, and I
Yeah.
just liked the colors and stuff
The
in that.
colors are
That
fun.
was
Yeah.
fun. But yeah, besides that, it's like there's nothing really that like pops to me.
Yeah. And I do have to give credit where credit's due and say that the costuming in this is actually pretty fire, especially
Hmm.
given the early 2000s. Like the
Yeah, her
the
dress is
yellow
iconic.
dress is
Yeah.
so iconic. I did give Clueless a higher score than this movie.
Hmm.
Because I fully agree. I think the stylistic vibe of Clueless is a little bit more interesting than this movie for sure.
Hmm.
But that's interesting to know that you would probably go back and change that
Yeah,
based off of the other rom-com that we've watched. So maybe in
exactly.
the future, when I throw at you um, another romantic comedy, maybe this score could change.
It's true. It's
Who's to
true.
say? Who's to say? I'll just keep throwing worse ones at you.
They'll get progressively worse
I'll
and
just give
worse.
you. I'll just give you some Netflix movies.
No, please don't.
Okay,
What's that one Vanessa Hudgens Christmas one that came out
like
like
the
a while
Princess
ago?
Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be like my nightmare scenario.
Oh, just wait for Christmas. We will
Oh
definitely be
no.
watching a Hallmark movie. Okay. Awesome. We went over aesthetic. Music for this. I'll start with my score. I know you didn't like the music based off of what you said earlier,
Hmm.
but now I'm kind of curious. Let me look at the soundtrack. I like the soundtrack songs in this movie more than some of the soundtrack songs in other movies that we've watched. So I gave it medium bucket with
Hmm.
light butter maybe. There's not a ton of scoring in this from what I noticed, and if it
Yeah.
was, like, it's like fine. But what did you score it?
I'd probably give it small bucket, no butter again. I think the composer for this, within the first like 10 seconds, or not 10 seconds, like 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, I know exactly who this is. Let me look up his name.
Really?
But he's done the score for like Scooby Doo, Monsters Unleashed, and Cat in the Hat, and a ton of like
Oh,
early
really?
2000s kids movies.
That's so
So he has
funny.
a very distinct style, like most composers do. And so when I heard it, I immediately just thought of those two movies. And
Mm,
because of that, it kind of like I couldn't that was kind of a lot of the reason why I think the music didn't fit for
it stood
me.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, because it sounded like this should be, part of a kids movie. This should be part of like some goofy kids adventure type vibe,
Yeah.
whereas this doesn't really fit a rom
Was it
com in
fitting
my
for you?
opinion. Let me check the composer because he is a great composer. I do like his stuff in like I think he's great for Scooby Doo and Cat in the Hat, and he has a couple like actual movies that actual movies. Those movies are great. The one Cat in the Hat and Scooby Doo are hilarious. But David Newman is his name, so he does a lot of um, like kids movies, and
Mm,
he's most notable for composing for. It says he's in the music department for West Side Story, the newest one, which
mm,
is an incredible score.
yeah.
I don't know if he composed that. Let me double check because it just said he was part of the music department. Yeah, it doesn't look like he composed it, but he was part of the process of the composition. But other than that, he's just done, yeah, like Dr. Seuss movies and Tarzan, and yeah. So he has his niche.
Style. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Which,
just don't think it fit this
yeah.
movie.
And like I didn't even notice. I will say
Yeah.
that soundtrack wise, it has it has one of my favorite songs in a movie that I can think of, which is Somebody Like You. by Keith Urban when they're in
Oh yeah, that's
Long
that's a good one.
Island when they're doing the motorcycle. And so I love that part in this movie, and so I think that that bumps it up for me.
Yeah.
And I do think that there are some other cool ones, like what's the one called You're So Vain? Like they have that earlier in the movie, and then they bring it back at the end, which I think is fun. So there's some good musical moments in it. But I think overall it's like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. Did you do entertainment value for this one or not?
Yeah. So entertainment value, I would say I'd probably it was entertaining. Like I wouldn't mind watching this again. Like I said, very beginning I didn't like it, but by the end I liked the movie. So I probably wouldn't ever watch it by myself.
Yeah.
But if I was, on a date or in a group setting, like I'd totally see myself watching this again. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it turned itself around for you, Garrett.
Yeah.
I'm glad you powered through. But that you
Thank
got
you.
a taste of your own medicine for a little bit.
Yes. There still hasn't been one where I have like ended the movie and been like, I wish I hadn't seen that.
That's good. I need to find one that I feel like you would feel that about. Maybe my next pick will punish you a little bit.
No.
But I'll be thinking hard about that. Entertainment value for me, obviously, I find this movie extremely entertaining. I love it. I picked it for a reason, and I've seen it many times, and we'll probably see it many times in the future. So very entertaining for me. But yeah, awesome. Did you have a time that you would want to watch this movie? When is the best time to watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
I think summer.
Me too.
Right. It's set in New York City, and it's not like the Christmassy New York City vibe. It's not the fall New York City vibe. It's very clear. Like they're tanning on the roof. Like it's very clearly summer NYC.
Yeah.
And I think that vibe just goes throughout the whole movie. Like obviously it's the postseason for basketball, so that's also very summer vibes. So I would say, it's a very beginning of summer type movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Period. That's what I said too. Okay. Well, I think that's everything.
What about your overall score?
Yes. Overall score, I gave it medium popcorn bucket. Obviously don't think it's the best objectively the best movie in the entire world, but in the rom-com world, if we're just talking rom-coms, I'd give it large, but if we're talking all movies in general, I'm giving it medium with extra butter because I love this movie. What about you?
Solid. I'd say probably medium bucket with a little bit of butter. Like it's good, kind of like you said, not the greatest movie ever made, but I think as far as rom-coms go, I enjoyed it overall in the end more than a decent amount of the other ones. I think I've seen some ones that I enjoyed more or that I think are better, but overall it was good. And then it's a little bit of butter because, I did enjoy myself.
Love it.
I liked it.
Do you think if you watched it again, knowing what happened in the first half, that you would like it more? Or would your score stay the same? At least butter-wise.
I think potentially. I think definitely watching this with other people could change me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because sure. I watched this and Clueless just by myself, which rom-coms are not necessarily... Get one of your sisters
to watch it with you.
Yeah. As a man, rom-coms are not made for men to watch alone. Rom-coms are made for men to watch with other women. So it was not...
Maybe I'll change your mind. Maybe at some point you'll be like, hey, I turned on a rom-com by myself tonight, and I will be so proud.
I do want to watch the one that I've wanted to watch for a really long time, which I wouldn't mind watching by myself, honestly, which still I would prefer to watch with other people, but I've never seen 10 Things I Hate About You. And for when I've seen like clips on like Instagram and stuff of that movie, I think I would potentially really like it because I think Heath Ledger from what I've seen looks great. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt a lot. And I think there's a lot of iconic moments that I've seen that I would enjoy knowing the context of. So that's one I wouldn't mind to do in the future if you had given you some ideas.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will tell you that isn't one of my favorites. I love it.
And I think that could be good too. Because then I like a rom-com that you don't, and then it's crazy. Yeah.
There's not a lot of rom-coms that I don't like. Like, I still love that one. I do think it's extremely iconic. But when we're talking about, it's not one that I tend to reach for. I've definitely seen it more than 3 times. Like, I've seen it a lot. But But I definitely have to be in a very specific mood for that one. Maybe we'll revisit that one in the fall because they're in school. It's like the beginning of school for them. So it feels very much like a fall movie to me. Or maybe end of summer. So we'll see. Maybe we'll revisit that one. But yeah, I think that's everything. Any final thoughts you'd like to share, Garrett?
I love me some Matthew McConaughey.
Me too. All right. Okay, cool. What are we gonna watch next?
Great question. So I've been thinking long and hard about this, and there's been one movie that I've wanted to watch on this podcast, a series that I've wanted to start on this podcast that we haven't yet.
We keep starting series.
I was gonna start it. I was gonna start it today, but then I remembered we got a really big movie coming out in about a month. Which when this episode drops, it'll be June. When our next episode drops, it'll be mid-June, which means the movie that I'm talking about will come out within like 2-3 weeks, which is Superman. And so I think to hop on the Superman hype a little bit and get that in our minds, I want to watch a movie that I think both of us would have a lot to say about just based on how it's been in our lives. I want to watch Man of Steel.
Ooh.
Because
I'm actually excited for that one.
I have a lot of mixed emotions about that movie. So.
Me too. Well, perfect. I don't know if people know this. First of all, I mean, you might have been able to tell from our bonus episode. If you haven't listened to Thunderbolts, go take a listen. But me and Garrett are big superhero fans. When it comes to action movies, if I'm going to watch an action movie, I'd rather watch just a superhero movie. And me and Garrett love Superman. It's one of our shared faves along with
Shout out
Spider-Man.
Smallville. Shout
out to Smallville. Where are Smallville fans at? Tom Welling the GOAT. But why did we not go meet him, by the way?
I don't know.
Do you remember
we should
that?
have. Yeah, we totally should have.
Stupid of us.
Yeah, and wasn't it Michael Rosenbaum too?
Yes.
Like it was both of them.
Yes, that is crazy. I remember I called you and I was like, "Dude, they're coming to Fan X in Salt Lake. You should come and we should meet them." And then we didn't. But yeah, so. You know, a regret in life.
They'll be back. They'll be back.
Yeah. Anyways, Man of Steel. I'm excited. I haven't seen that in so long. I honestly have probably seen that movie 2 times. Yeah. I love the music in that movie, though.
Yes, we will have a lot to say about the music, but get a lot of notes ready because I have a TED Talk about that movie that, like, I'm very excited to kind of collect my thoughts on it. Might have to be
2 parts.
Yeah, it might have to be a 2-parter, but it'll be a very opposite end of the spectrum type movie in comparison to the new Superman movie that's about to come out.
Which we will probably also do an episode on.
We will, definitely.
And guess what, Garrett? I'm not usually into IMAX, but I saw the trailer for it in a smaller theater, and I was like, that's a movie I am definitely going to go see in IMAX.
100%.
I'm like, I usually don't care, but for this one, I was like, Brady, I'll go see it in IMAX with you. Fine. You've convinced me.
I have seen the light that Christopher Nolan and Tom Cruise have been telling us for years that IMAX is the way to go.
I love it. Well, it'll be my first IMAX experience, so that will also be something. Yeah, I've never seen a movie in IMAX.
You didn't see Sinners in IMAX?
I didn't see I didn't see it when it was in IMAX.
Yeah.
I saw it after when they had taken it out of the IMAX theaters, and then they were going to do like the revamping where they like did it again in IMAX.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it in Utah.
Dang.
So, which I was bummed about too because I know the aspect ratio changes are so crazy in it. But
like those are like lock-in moments when you're like, oh, dang.
Yeah, and I'm bummed that I think Sinners really changed my mind about IMAX because I was like, okay, now I understand why like you have to go see some movies in IMAX. And then when I saw the trailer for Superman and we were in a small theater, so the screen was way small, I was like, oh, like the trailer didn't even hit the way that I feel like it should hit in a movie theater. So
definitely.
I'm excited to see that one. There's lots of fun things to come on this podcast. Big summer. We got Jurassic World. What else we got?
Fantastic Four.
Super
Jurassic.
There's some other ones that I can't think of right now, but
yeah, it's a big summer. And then we got, which I keep forgetting about, which seems like everybody keeps forgetting about. We have Avatar 3 in December. Yeah.
I'm so hyped about Avatar. I didn't forget. I need to rewatch the first 2. Maybe we should do that before that comes out. But
definitely.
Anyways, keep up with the podcast. We also have a Google form for audience surveys. So if you didn't get to see that, there is a link on it that will be a part of our Instagram links. So if you want to fill out the survey to give us feedback, any suggestions you have, we would love to hear from you so that we can keep making this podcast better.
And I'll put it in the description of this episode as well. So if you want it, go down there, and that would help us out a lot.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, guys. That's the end.
See ya for Man of Steel.